Everyone talks about Baltimore's past, but most people don't know that it's the future that actually might rival Silicon Valley. With over $7 billion pouring into game-changing projects, the city's transformation has already started. And I'm talking about $1 billion tech leap, a harbor that's getting a total makeover, and a port that's ready to overtake the competition. Let me show you why Baltimore might be the most underrated real estate market in America. Hey guys, I'm Nick Waldner with the Waldner Winners team of Keller Williams. If you're thinking about buying or selling or investing in a place in Baltimore, or you just have any real estate questions, you gotta see what's going on today. I'm gonna walk you through 13 giant developments that are going to completely change how people live and work in Baltimore. Let's check it out. All right, let's start with the big one. The project that's gonna completely transform Baltimore's signature waterfront experience. We're looking at $500 to $900 million investment in about 20 acres of prime inner harbor real estate. MCB Real Estate secured control after Question F passed with about a 60% voter support back in November of 2024. Gensler Architects, you might remember them, they're the ones who designed everything at Under Armour's Baltimore headquarters. They are taking and leading the design. Now let's be clear, what we're talking about is a complete reimagining, not a renovation. They aren't updating, they're replacing the old pavilions with 5 brand new state-of-the-art buildings. They're reimagining as a mixed-use development with 900 apartments and 2 residential towers, 4 new buildings to house offices, shops, restaurant, plus a 2-tiered waterfront promenade at the 18+ acres of public space, with STV providing site design services. When is all this happening, you may ask? Well, soil boring and underwater assessments have already started. It's not just the harbor we're talking about. The industrial real estate market's gonna see significant changes as well. And we'll see that play out even more dramatically when we discuss the Trade Point Atlantic expansion later. When you add almost 1,000 new homes right in the middle of the city, you're bringing in a whole new group of people who will need places to shop, eat, hang out. This is the kind of change that doesn't just stay in one spot. It spreads out and affects the entire downtown area. Think about the impact Harbor East had on the city when it was first started. And while we're on the topic of big changes, let's talk about something that impacts pretty much anyone traveling through Baltimore. Before we jump in, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This isn't just about square footage or price change. This channel is your inside look at what's really happening to live and work in Maryland. From hidden gem neighborhoods to the best local spots and what buyers are really looking for in 2025. It's all here. All right, let's get into the BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport expansion. Here's the thing, one of Maryland's biggest real estate power moves isn't a skyscraper or a new development, it's actually the airport. BWI will see $425 million investment, the largest terminal enhancement in BWI history. And guess who will see the most gain? Southwest Airlines, because one of the main focuses is about expansion, its capacity for more Southwest terminals. We will see a 2-story connector between concourses A and B, making getting around the larger airport a bit easier. Plus, keep your eyes peeled for the electrochromatic glazing smart glass. I know, electro what? This is the technology that can change the tint of the glass when an electric voltage is applied. And you've seen it in glazing in an owner's bathroom where you want to let all the natural light in, but not when you're showering. You press a button and it automatically becomes fogged. Now, this isn't about privacy when you're looking at the airport. For this application, it's more about regulating light, or think heat, from entering the building, making it much more energy efficient. And good news for all you overpackers, there's actually a new state-of-the-art baggage handling system being set up right now. Now, also included are going to be 5 additional boarding bridges, enlarged departure lounges between gates A1 and A5, and my personal favorite, enhanced amenities. We're talking about new food and new retail options. I'm a bit of a shopper. So when is all this happening? The timeline is set for late 2025 completion for the baggage system, and the connector with the full project completion should be by end of 2026. Now, there's a controversial light rail project that's either going to unlock some massive property gains or become the biggest disappointment in Baltimore real estate. I'll break down exactly what's at stake in a little bit. There's a greater economic impact to the airport. It drives business travel, tourism, and corporate relocations. These airport improvements make travel easier, and your city is actually more attractive to businesses looking to relocate or expand when you have a better airport. When companies are choosing where to open their next office, a smooth, modern airport that can handle more people give Baltimore a big advantage. And when that happens, it helps real estate market as well. Think about more companies and more people, they need more housing. But here's where things get massive. On the ground, Baltimore's setting the stage for a game-changing expansion at the port. Yep, I'm talking about the billion-dollar project at Coke Point that's about to turn Baltimore into one of the top 3 container ports on the East Coast. And that changes everything. So topping our list with an estimated $1 billion investment into the container terminal at Coke Point. It's about 165 acres over there. This will be a joint venture between TradePoint Atlantic and Terminal Investment Limited, which is a Meridian shipping company subsidy. We're talking about the potential to elevate Baltimore to the 3rd place in the East Coast for container capacity. The project adds an estimated 1,100 construction jobs during the building phase. And for all you commercial investors, we will see increased warehouse and distribution space all along that 95 corridor. There's going to be a big demand for that. The construction timeline here, the project should kick off by the end of 2025 and run through about Q1 of 2028. I cannot understate this. This will be a fundamental shift in Baltimore's economic base. More logistic jobs, trucking operations, warehouse demand, I'm talking all of it. Baltimore is gearing up to compete directly with the big ports like Savannah and Charleston. Moving cargo is just one part of the plan. What really matters is securing Baltimore's spot as a major economic center on the East Coast for the next 50 years. The investment happening now in the port's infrastructure will shape which cities thrive way down the road. Now here's something that's going to surprise a lot of people. Maryland's putting hundreds of millions of dollars into a year-round destination that could reshape an entire neighborhood. Yep, I'm talking about the Pimlico racecourse transformation, home of the Preakness States, the middle jewel in the Triple Crown. Get this. Maryland is investing $400 million to transform Pimlico Racecourse into a hub with new jobs, events, and growth right in the heart of Baltimore. This will be another $400+ million state investment. Now, as to why it's happening, it comes down to necessity and some safety concerns. As iconic as Pimlico Racecourse has become, it's also quite old. We're talking about more than a century over here. Although renovations happened in the 50s, no further renovations can help alleviate the safety concerns of hosting thousands of people every year. The Maryland Stadium Authority will be overseeing the entire project. Design is said to be inspired by Baltimore landmarks like the Rawlings Conservatory in Druid Hill Park. After renovation, Maryland residents will enjoy 100+ days of racing annually, up from its current of about 15 a year. Now, the horse track transformation is impressive, but it's small compared to what's happening in South Lake Bowie. It's a $1.3 billion development that's already drawing hundreds of thousands of visitors and changing how entire communities are built. More on that in a second. NAI Michaels Company President Gary Michaels put it like this: South Lake is more than a mixed-use development. It's a true sports destination. With the Liberty Sports Park, the tournament-grade athletic complex hosting major events all year round, South Lake Marketplace will give traveling athletes and family convenient lodging, dining, shopping, and entertainment just steps from the field. no other development integrates this level of high-profile sports complex, which will continually drive customers to South Lake Marketplace. So how will this sports complex play a role in the development? How about 344,000 visitors in the first year through regional and national tournament activity? That's great news for all of us travel and club sports parents. Maybe we just need to go to Bowie and not anywhere else. Major tenants announced include Giant Foods, Chase Bank, Panera Bread, McDonald's, Panera Express. This is a new one for me. Sports tourism driving retail and residential growth. The concept becomes even more significant when we look at the massive Westphalia development coming up, but we'll discuss that in a second. First, South Lake is showing that sports tourism can actually kickstart huge growth in housing and shopping areas. Building around the fun, active spaces give people a reason to come visit. And once they do, many want to continue living there. It's a smart way to grow a community that keeps building on its own success. But not every project is smooth sailing, and this next one could really reshape Baltimore or stall it. Let's discuss the elephant in the room, the Red Line Light Rail project. Now, the Red Line Light Rail project has the potential to connect East and West Baltimore and unlock massive growth. But right now, it's stuck in uncertainty, despite high hopes and major state interests. With $11 million already spent and a $151 million budget by the Maryland Transit Administration, what is going on? Federal funding prospects have been challenging, and with a project cost of, get this, 4.7 to 9 billion, depending on the route and construction methods, the Senate President Bill Ferguson called this project unlikely. Advocates continue to push for advancement, and they think that the transit-oriented development drives property values, but we do know that areas that are near planned transportation could see an increased investment and developer activities. But is there enough to believe this project will actually go through and get investors excited? The Red Line is the biggest question mark in Baltimore real estate right now. Homes, properties along the planned route are priced like the project might fall through, which means if it gets built, there's some huge opportunities for gain. But if it doesn't, this could be a huge letdown for anyone who invested in these areas. Now, let's head to where Baltimore is making moves that people around the world are starting to talk about. Let me tell you, just recently in May of 2025, AstraZeneca opened a brand new cell therapy facility in Rockville. And it wasn't small. We're talking about a $300 million investment. So the facility opened in May of 2025 in Rockville, and this is the first fully owner-operated cell therapy facility in the US. And it's part of AstraZeneca's $3.5 billion US research and manufacturing commitment. The facility handles manufacturing and testing through culturing and formulation, a bunch of stuff that I don't quite understand. The focus is the CAR-T or CAR-T therapies and next generation cell therapies. What does all this mean? I have no idea, but I do know this. It will affect real estate. But not everything is perfectly coming to fruition around here. There's a development in Prince George's counties that was supposed to be one of the biggest on the East Coast, but it's facing massive challenges that show there's risk in these major mega projects. I'll talk about that soon. But the question around AstraZeneca's new facilities are, will it attract other biotech companies? If so, we could see even more job creation of high-paying jobs and attract some of the brightest minds in the area. It would establish Maryland as the leader in advanced therapeutics, which in the end would have increased housing demand for highly educated, well-compensated workers. All positive influences in Maryland's real estate values. This new facility shows that Maryland is stepping up as a major player in the global biotech scene. With big pharma companies spending hundreds of millions to build here, it sends a clear message. Maryland's got the right mix of talent, infrastructure, and support to make it work. throw in the great new airport, we might be a great location for all of those companies. And speaking of cutting edge projects, here's something about to put Maryland front and center on the global tech map. Maryland isn't just chasing the next tech wave, it's leading it with a $1 billion push to become the Silicon Valley of quantum. A nice round $1 billion called the Capital of Quantum initiative launched in January of 2025. It's a combination of state funds, some federal grants, some private sector investments, and even some philanthropic, that's the word, contributions, all over the next 5 years. This positions Maryland as the global leader in quantum information science and technology. The public-private partnership announced at IonQ headquarters, which is University of Maryland's Discovery District, will double the workforce to 250 people over the next 5 years. The 100,000 square foot headquarter facility at UMD Discovery District will be state-of-the-art quantum intelligence campus. With the launch of the Capital of Quantum initiative, the University of Maryland will move forward with its plans. They're going to recruit to quantum scientists and engineers from around the world to join the ranks of the 200 plus UMD quantum faculty members, one of the largest concentrations in the world, to usher in a new wave of discovery and innovation. Expanded access to the National Quantum Laboratory, or QLab, and a unique University of Maryland partnership with IonQ that provides students, researchers, and entrepreneurs from around the world with hands-on access to quantum computers and scientists. They will hire, test, and evaluation experts to support quantum-focused projects and construct a whole new building at University of Maryland's Applied Research Laboratory for Intelligence and Security, creating additional facilities to house an expanded quantum startup foundry. It's kind of like a business accelerator based in University of Maryland's Discovery District that provides resources and support for entrepreneurs and startups that are bringing quantum technologies to the market. Launch education and outreach and training initiatives to include high school quantum curriculums and a master and certificate programs and a workforce retraining opportunities. This is bringing a lot to Maryland. Maryland has certainly positioned itself as the Silicon Valley of quantum, and this means high-paying jobs, construction, engineering, operations, applied physics, all that lead to demands in higher-end housing market, all before additional technology companies start investing and moving this way as well. Maryland is stepping into one of the biggest tech races of the next century, quantum computing. If the state becomes a global leader in this field, it could lead to huge growth in jobs, money, and property values in the areas around these tech hubs. The industry is just getting started, and the impact over the next decade could be massive. And just when you think it can't get any bigger, the Trade Point Atlantic is stretching its reach beyond Baltimore County, bringing major industrial growth to Howard County. Let's take a look. The Trade Point Atlantic expansion into Howard County. Here's the thing. They're making a major growth into Howard County with a $100 million investment that's set to boost logistics, jobs, and industrial space in the region. This investment is all taking place in Savage, Maryland, which is in Howard County. And Trade Point at Savage Crossing is a 500,000 square foot Class A industrial and flex warehouse facility. It encompasses 3 buildings across the development site, 500 family supporting jobs in the supply chain and logistics, strategic location, access to the port, to BWI Airport, and the construction completion is looking in the next 3 to 4 years. This strengthens Baltimore's region as a national logistic, industrial, manufacturing leader. Growing demand for warehouse space, distribution facilities, all region-wide. Again, for you investors, this is a good place to put your money. This expansion shows Trade Point is growing faster than Baltimore County can handle, which is actually a good problem to have. When successful companies spread into nearby counties, it builds a bigger regional economy that helps everyone. All right, Let's switch gears and talk about something really huge going on in Prince George's County. Spanning nearly 6,000 acres, Westphalia in Prince George's County is one of the East Coast's largest planned communities. But it's facing some pretty big challenges as transit plans and infrastructure costs evolve. Here are some of the key points. In 2007, it was approved and there was a sector plan for 6,000 acres, 17,000 total housing units at full build out, and 13,000 approved but unbuilt dwellings as of today. Commercial component is 1.8 million square feet approved for retail and commercial space, another 4.6 million square feet approved for office space, and 5 million approved for industrial space. One of the largest planned developments on the entire East Coast, but it's having some challenges. The original plan depended on the Metro Rail extension that's not under consideration now. The infrastructure costs between 2007 and now, it's about $400 million. And that was 2007 dollars, excluding the Metro. The infrastructure costs are another struggle, $400+ million. And that's in 2007 numbers. So you can only imagine what it would cost now. The completion with the Metro serve location was key to this going through. Now, the market prefers walkable, transit-oriented communities, and if they don't have that, they're going to struggle. Westphalia shows both the big potential and tough challenges of huge developments. It's planned to be really dense, but without good public transit options, it's going up against markets where people want to walk or take public transportation. But here's something that's a little closer to home. Something that affects families and property values directly. We're talking about a historic investment in K-12 school construction. Here's the thing. The 21st Century School Building Program is a $1.1 billion plan to update and improve Baltimore City schools with modern buildings and facilities. It's a partnership between Baltimore City Public Schools, the Maryland Stadium Authority, City of Baltimore, and the state's Interagency Committee on School Construction. They're financing about $60 million annually, $20 million from Baltimore City and State Department and Baltimore City Schools, all split evenly. And Fort Worthington Elementary and Middle was actually the first completed project in 2017 with a cost of about $37 million. It was a 103,000 square foot facility housing 700 students from grades K through 8, and it was LEED Gold certified. Maryland's 2023 budget was $8.15 billion for public schools. And modern, well-equipped schools make neighborhoods more attractive to families. So it supports the value growth in that surrounding area. And when I think back to most people I work with, school quality is usually at the top of things families think about when they're choosing where to live. Baltimore's huge investment in modern schools is going to change how people see living in the city. Now, let's finish with a project that impacts everyone traveling through Baltimore. After the Francis Scott Key Bridge tragically collapsed in March of 2024, Maryland is now pushing ahead with a big plan to build a new one. A budget of $1.7 to $1.9 billion, the Maryland Transportation Authority committed to October 28 completion. So October 2028, hopefully traffic goes down. This will be Maryland's first highway cable stayed bridge. 2 12-foot lanes each direction and a 10-foot outside shoulder with 4 feet in the middle shoulder. Total length of about 2 miles, and it's going to be about a 230-foot minimum clearance above the channel. 2 towers, 600 feet tall, with a main span pylon of about 1,600 feet apart, with a life expectancy of 100 years for this bridge. That's pretty cool. December of 2024, President Biden signed the federal funding legislation approving this to move forward. And in March, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers issued a rebuild permit. In-water construction should start in early fall of 2025. I just read that they're currently clearing out the last bits of debris so they can get ready for that construction in fall of 2025. Now, why is this all important? This maintains Baltimore's position as a major East Coast port. It ensures free flow of commerce, supporting thousands of jobs and billions of economic activity. The temporary construction disruption is a problem, but the long-term economic benefits are there. The New Key Bridge isn't just about fixing what's broke. It's about building something that will serve Baltimore for the next 100 years. Choosing a cable-stayed design with more capacity shows Maryland is serious about keeping Baltimore at the top of transportation and logistics. So there you have it, guys. Over $7 billion in projects that are actually changing Baltimore right now. These aren't just ideas on paper, they're funded, approved, and happening. Now, each one brings new chances and challenges for anyone buying, selling, or investing in real estate. If you're thinking about buying or selling in Baltimore or in Maryland, and you want the inside scoop on these developments, email me at hello@waldnerwintersteam.com. I know this market inside and out, and I can help you find exclusive opportunities you won't see anywhere else. But don't just go yet. Check out my next video, linked right here, about how I break down the new tariffs and what they mean for home prices. If you're house hunting in 2025, you definitely want to watch this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.